Hi, welcome to my channel, or a slightly different angle today because the sun is like streaming right in there. Okay, I want to talk about it is done, and apologies if I've got my cheeks are a little bit rosy today, and I think it really shows on the camera. That's because I did a micro needling session fairly late last night, so it's still showing on my face. So just in case you wondered why I look a bit rosy today. Okay, it is done. What does it is done mean, and how can you apply it is done to those things that you really want that haven't shown up in your life yet, to things you are concerned about, you have immediate concerns about, and you're thinking about the worst case scenario, and then you're going back to what it is that you want, and then you are letting worry take over and conjuring up all kinds of things in your mind that are impeding you and holding you in a certain state of being. How to use it is done. Now, it is done is something that I use all of the time. I don't always use the words it is done, but I just bring up the feeling of what I want, and then I kind of feel that it is done. Now, one thing I want to make really clear here is I've been doing this for 10 years and my mind still does not shut up. Still does not stop telling me that maybe it's not done this time, but look at this going on and look at that going on. But I have developed an ability to not block it out, but just not engage with it, and just know that those thoughts are actually nonsense. Your mind is just trying to control the situation. And when it thinks about it is done, when it considers it is done, it thinks, no way can I just let go of it and accept that something I don't understand is going to take over and sort this out for me, that reality is going to bend for me, that I'm going to shift in reality based on me just saying it is done. It won't have it, but that's fine. You just accept that that is the mind's job. That's what it does. It's not useful, but it's going to do it anyway. If I haven't stopped it in 10 years, I doubt I'm ever going to. But like I said, it's kind of like 50% less than it was, I guess, back in the day, but it still does it. It's the engagement, because when you engage with those thoughts, those contradictory thoughts, you are vibrating that then, and you are going flip-flopping between what you want and what also might happen in the circumstances and this and that. You're never truly focused on what it is that you want. Now, this doesn't mean you have to have a ton of focus on what you want. But what it does mean is you can't keep going back to all the worst case scenarios and why you haven't manifested it so far and why it's very unlikely. You can let your brain do that, but you just don't engage with it, because it is done is not a mind thing. You don't apply it and you don't say, okay, this is what I want. I'm clarity on what I want. Now it is done. Hell yes, it is done. It's not something you do with your mind, because your mind is never going to think it is done, but it's a feeling thing, and it might be very, very fleeting. It might just last a second or two and it's gone, and you want to get it back again because it was comforting, and now it's gone. Where the hell is it? Doesn't matter. You don't need it. You don't even need that. You don't need the feeling. You just need to know that when you apply it is done, you are leaving it to something you don't understand, and you're not going to get involved, because when you've got involved, nothing good has come from that. Your mind, it's like the worry state that we go into keeps us down here, basically keeps our vibration low, because our mind is comfortable with that. Our mind wants to be comfortable. It's not really a comfort zone, but it's where we're used to being. It's the familiar, and the mind will always go to the familiar. And anything like this, to say it is done and I'm going to leave this to something I don't understand, is uncertainty, and it's the unknown, and the mind doesn't like that. One really good tip that I can give you is think of yourself as living in uncertainty. We're always living in uncertainty, aren't we? You're living there. It's where you live, and you like where you live. You're going to decide to embrace that where you live, uncertainty. You're going to embrace it, because the best things happen, they come from uncertainty, don't they? Things that happen in our lives that show up and we're like, whoa, we weren't certain that would happen. We didn't have a knowing that would happen. It just happened anyway. But it does come from what's going on internally, but it comes from a place of uncertainty. Everything does. And if we can learn to embrace uncertainty and not be scared of it, not be fearful of it, then things will become easier. I'm not saying they will be easy, but they will be much, much easier. And you will just have a lighter feeling about you. And that is what it is done is. It gives you a lighter feeling. Go, do you know what? There's nothing else I can do now. Whatever this is to you, please just take over. and deal with this for me. It's done. It is done. I'm deciding it is done. Today, I am deciding that this is done. It is done. It is happening. I don't know when, but it's done, and that's that. Neville Goddard, it is done. Just think of Neville. And when Neville applied this, it was always done, and it won't be any different for you, because you are no different. We're all the same. We're all energy. We're all manipulating energy. And the more we get involved, the more we allow the mind to get involved, the less control we have. The mind wants to control everything because it thinks, if I don't control it and don't hold on to it and don't think about it and don't hold it there in my conscious, then it won't happen. But the opposite is true, because when you hold it there in your conscious awareness, when your mind is holding it there, what it's doing is holding really all of the contraindications to it. It's holding the lack, it's holding the disappointment, it's holding all of that in place. It's not holding what it is that you want. So when you let go of all of that stuff, because that's what you're letting go of, you're not letting go of what it is that you want particularly, you're letting go of all the crap that comes with it and around it and that our mind puts into play. You're letting go of all of that. That's what's going, and then you are going, it is done. It's applying, it is done, like an exercise. You do it for the big things. I'm not even saying here, because sometimes I might say, do it for the smaller things and practice with that first and then go big. I say, no, with this, go with the big things, because the big things are getting in your way. The big things are the things that you're thinking can't happen and you're finding reasons for. So apply it to that. Just try doing this for a while. If you're one that hasn't been shifting anything, then just try doing this. So the key is here, get real clarity on it. What do I want? Not how do I want it, because that will stuff things up as well. What do I want? I don't need to believe it's probable, but I need to know what I want, and then I need to just state to myself that it is done. Just make that statement, it is done. Feel it, let it go. And you might have to do it a few times before you feel comfortable enough to really just get on with life. I've done that in the past. These days I do go back to things sometimes when it's a big thing. I'll just tell you something, like I have a friend, an elderly friend who's in his mid-80s, and I've spoken about him before, and he's very religious, like everything is God to him, and God as in God in the Bible. And he tells me often about the things that he asks for, and he says, and I know that if I don't get it, it'll be because God doesn't think it's right for me. But he said, but I've never not got anything. I've never not got anything when I've done this. So obviously all of this is right for me. And I'm sort of smiling to myself. I don't tell him what I do, what I talk about, what I write about at all, because I don't think he would understand. He'd try and talk me round to it being his way. But recently, so his wife died a little while ago, and he's been lonely, obviously, you know, they were together a long time, and he wanted to meet somebody. So he asked God, please find me somebody, basically. And he did this when he met his wife initially, and he's done that throughout his life. And he said he asked 3 times, and he thought, oh, well, nothing's happening. So then he said, I reminded God, I said, you do know that I do still want this, you know. And then it happened, and it turned out that he's getting married now to somebody that he's known for years and years, that never really looked at in this particular way, but now does. And it's all they're engaged, and it's really sweet and everything. And again, he did it, so he sort of felt, yeah, I've asked God, and God always provides me, it's done. Oh, but where is it? So even he doubted a little bit. I wouldn't say he doubted, but he wondered why it was taking so long. And he thought, does this mean this just isn't right for me? But of course, there's nothing judging whether something's right for you or wrong for you. It's no judgment whatsoever here. It's just what you want. So that's why he's always got what he's wanted. I mean, he's told me so many stories about what he's manifested, really, but what he's asked God for, and over the years, and some of it was really way out, and you think, what, anybody else would think, but he just, oh, well, it must have been right for me because God gave it to me. God, there was no judgment of whether it's right or wrong for you. You just wanted it, and you weren't bogged down with all of the other stuff because you believe in this superpower that is God for you, and whatever it is for you guys. So it is done. It's just asking for it if you want to, stating it or asking for it, and then just going, that's all I need to do. That is all I need to do. Everything else at the moment will just stuff it up. Let's just leave it at that. and see what happens. And then it doesn't matter too much if you go back to it 2 or 3 times and set a reminder, but it's that knowing feeling that you've done all that you actually need to do. And don't worry about the doubt, don't worry about the fear. Your mind will say things to you. It just will, and that's that. But you just kind of accept that for what it is, and then accept it is done for what it is too, and just see where you go, see if that feels better. Because for me, it's so resistance diminishing. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I still get that bit of chatter, but just knowing that I've done all that I can do, and I've got to go by past experience. So I've made this work by doing this. This is what's worked for me, so I'm going to continue to do it. And if it works for you guys, then awesome. Again, everything with this is practice, practice, practice. I want to get good at this. I have cultivated this ability, I suppose, now to do this and still have the doubt and all of that. But then I get to a point where I go back to doing it again and I feel it overwhelming inside of me, like it's got rocket fuel inside of it, it's got momentum around it, and I just think, oh my God, that can't not happen now. But that has happened through me practicing. It is done. So, okay, I hope that this was useful. I hope it's something you can move forward with. If you don't know anything about it, I'm an author, manifestation coach, and a mindset coach.